I'm Roshni. Welcome to Medical Dialogues, daily dose of health and medical news. Let's look at today's top health news. NMC points out deficiencies at Pune Medical College. NMC framed guidelines for prosecution of doctors in criminal negligence. Post MBBS Diploma courses authorization NBE extends deadline for applications from hospitals. Sanofi gets CDSCO panel marketing authorization for Insulin Glargine. Merck to buy Acceleron Pharma. In an anticlimax sought after receiving approval from the central government, the NMC has pointed out the fact that the Pune Medical College is understaffed. The chief concerns of the NSP is shortage of manpower at the medical college. At present, 48 professors have been appointed. The issue raised by the NMC has to be addressed in the next 21 days. Failing with the municipal corporation will have to push its academic schedule to the next year. The NMC team arrived in Pune last week and after meeting PMC Commissioner Vikram Kumar had laid out the conditions required to start the college. The team had inspected the proposed site of the college. Ravindra Binware, the additional municipal commissioner, confirmed that is one of the conditions put forward by the NMC, that the PMC is working on recruiting more teaching and non-teaching staff as per the NMC's guidelines, with an aim to put an end to the confusion regarding the issue of how the criminal negligence aspect of medico-legal cases has to be treated. The Ethics and Medical Registration Board, operative under NMC, has recently framed some guidelines that spell out the prosecution of doctors for causing death of innocent patients due to gross medical negligence or reckless therapy. The guidelines were recently communicated by the NMC in a letter to the Secretary, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, in response to the letter filed by Dr. Kunal Saha, President of PBT, demanding the implementation of the directions issued by Supreme Court in this regard. 16 years later, after the Apex Court judgment in Jacob Matthew versus State of Punjab case, where the top court had framed temporary rules for holding a doctor guilty for criminal negligence under Indian Penal Code IPC Section 304A. NMC has recommended framing the following guidelines for protecting doctors from criminal rashness or unjust prosecution against medical negligence. Guidelines. The prosecuting agency, on receipt of any complaint of which criminal rashness or negligence is an ingredient against medical practitioners under the Indian Medical Council Act 1956, NMC Act, prior to making arrest, refer the complaint to District Medical Council Board for its recommendations as regards the merit of the allegation of criminal rashness or negligence contained in the complaint. The District Medical Board should be in Government Medical College and in District Hospital if the district does not have a medical college. Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology in every medical college, which can be nodal department for such a board. The District Medical Board, on receipt of such a reference, examine the allegation contained therein within 2 weeks from the date of its receipt and forward its recommendations to the prosecuting investigating agency. The prosecuting agency or doctors against whom the complaint is lodged, in case it is dissatisfied with the recommendation of the District Medical Board, may, starting the reasons for such dissatisfied, refer the matter to the State Medical Board for its recommendation within a period of 2 weeks from the receipt of recommendation of the District Medical Board. The State Medical Board should have a pool of specialists from state from each specialty apart from permanent members appointed by state government. 2 specialists of the concerned branch should be included in the board on the day of receipt of the complaint or appeal. The State Medical Board, on receipt of any such reference from the prosecuting agency, would examine the matter within 2 weeks from the date of receipt of such reference. The State Medical Board shall provide reason for endorsing or rejecting the recommendation of the District Medical Board. The prosecuting investigating agency, on receipt of recommendation of the District Medical Board, may further proceed in the matter in accordance with law. However, in case arrest of a registered medical practitioner in the employment of the state government is being made, the controlling officers of such medical practitioner would be informed by the prosecuting investigating agency. Likewise, in the case the registered medical practitioner is engaged in private practice, the concerned state medical council, or in case there is no state medical council in the state, EMRB NMC would be informed. A doctor accused of rashness or negligence may not be arrested in a routine manner because allegation has been leveled against him, unless the alleged negligence is of gross nature and arrest is necessary for furthering the investigation or for collecting evidence, or unless the investigation officer is satisfied that the doctor proceeded against would not make himself available to face the prosecution unless arrested. The arrest may be withheld. Further investigating agency prior to arrest of the doctor in such cases shall place factual position of consideration of concerned. The board should apply Boehm's test to facts standard of responsible body of medical opinion. The guidelines have further suggested that in the case of the district board, permanent members of the board should change at least every 2 years. If board is in medical college, then one member from the civil surgeon office should be included. Further, in the case of the state board, permanent members of board should be changed after 2 years and a member from DGHS be included. Through a recent notification, the NBE has announced an extension to last date for submitting applications forms for post-MBBS diploma July-August 2021 cycle. All the applicants seeking authorization with NBEMS for post-MBBS diploma were asked to submit applications to the NBE. National Board of Examination in Medical Science launched post-MBBS 2-year diploma courses in the following broad specialties: anesthesiology, gynecology, pediatrics, family medicine, ophthalmology, ENT, radiodiagnosis, tuberculosis and chest disease. The earlier deadline for the submission of the application form was 30th September, which has now been extended further as tabulated below. For more details, check the link below in the description box. Insulin is an important treatment in the management of type 1 diabetes. Approving the waiver of additional requirements for local clinical trials in the country, the Subject Expert Committee, functional under the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, has granted marketing authorization to Sanofi Healthcare India for the Insulin Glargine 100 international unit per ml cartridge. The manufacturing of the drug product will be held at an additional site in the country using drug substances imported from Frankfurt, Germany. Insulin Glargine is a modified form of long-acting or basal insulin used to control hyperglycemia in diabetes. Earlier medical dialogues had reported that the SEC of the CDSCO had rejected the Sanofi India's limited proposal for marketing authorization of the antibiotic fixed ratio combination of insulin glargine and lixinoside. But at the 79th SEC meeting for endocrinology and metabolism held on 21st September at CDSCO, the expert panel extensively evaluated the drug maker Sanofi Healthcare India's proposal for marketing authorization for the Insulin Glargine 100 international unit per ml cartridge, with a request for a waiver for additional requirements for local clinical trial. After detailed deliberation, the committee recommended the grant of marketing authorization with the waiver of the additional requirement for the local clinical trial in the country. Merck, known as the MSD outside the United States and Canada, and Acceleron Pharma, a publicly traded biopharmaceutical company, have announced that the companies have entered into a definitive agreement under which Merck, through a subsidiary, will acquire Acceleron for $180 per share in cash for an approximate total equity value of $11.5 billion. Acceleron's therapeutic candidate, sotorasib, has a novel mechanism of action with the potential to improve short-term or long-term clinical outcomes in patients with pulmonary arterial hypertension. Sotorasib is in phase 3 trials as add-on to current standard of care for the treatment of PAH. Acceleron portfolio includes Reblozyl, a first-in-class erythroid maturation recombinant fusion protein approved in many countries for the treatment of anemia. Acceleron portfolio includes Reblozyl, a first-in-class erythroid maturation recombinant fusion protein approved in many countries for the treatment of anemia. Under the terms of the acquisition agreement, Merck, through a subsidiary, will initiate a tender offer to acquire all outstanding shares of Acceleron. The closing of the tender offer will be subject to certain conditions. The conditions include the tender of shares representing at least a majority of the total number of Acceleron outstanding shares, receipt of applicable regulatory approvals, and other customary conditions. Upon the successful completion of the tender offer, Merck's acquisition subsidiary will be merged into Acceleron. That's all from the health news today.
Never miss a medical update from Medical Dialogues. Like, subscribe and press the bell icon.